Hey everybody, it's Rick Jansen, and I'm so excited today to have Allison Maslan on the show. She's CEO and founder of Pinnacle Global Network. She helps people scale past when they're stuck at 6, 7, and 8 figures. There's a team of CEOs to help you out. She's been endorsed by Barbara Corcoran, and I just want to dive right in and say, Allison, welcome.
Oh my goodness, I'm excited to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. I mean, Damon John of Shark Tank has endorsed you. You've been featured on Wall Street. Your book, Scale or Fail, has been a big hit. I like to dive right in with information that really helps people out. What is like the number one thing people fail to do, or the number one mistake and hurdle they have when trying to scale their business?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is we are creatures of habit. And you think about when you started your business, you got into a certain habit of the way you handled things. And there is a saying, and it goes like this: what got you here will not get you there. So we use those same mindset practices, operational practices, marketing practices, and they get us to this level. And then we think, I just work harder at that, and that's going to get me to here. But you really need a whole new mindset, a whole new level of strategies, and you have to show up in a much different way to take your business to this next level.
Yeah, another variation of that, right, is like, if I keep doing what I've always done, I'm going to keep getting what I've always gotten.
Getting
right?
what you've always gotten. Exactly, exactly. And, you know, this is where we get frustrated. And you could have made great traction and you've been at this for a while, but what tends to happen is that you hit this wall and you just can't get over it. You hit a wall of growth, and you might have incremental growth, but you're not getting those big leaps. And that's when you really have to reconstruct your business from this higher level, and then put the other, strategies in place really to multiply your business on the revenue side and then also on the team side.
Yeah, so in real estate, I'm sure you're aware, some of our successful agents have like 1 or 2 assistants and they make 7 figures. We have others that have a team of 10 or 20 that are making 6 figures, trying to get to 7. And then we have, all sorts of different structures. We have teams, we have independent brokers, we have franchises, but everybody seems to get stuck, right? They get stuck at a production level of doing like 10 million, or they get stuck at a team level where they only have 3 team members and they can't break beyond. Where do they go? How do they reach past that?
Yeah, I mean, if someone's doing $1 million and actually taking home $1 million and they're doing it all themselves, it's great. I mean, look, that's a great number, no question. But if you are the product or service, which basically you are, even though you're selling the service of real estate, but it's really you. And you can't scale that. There's only so many hours in the day. And if you're, on vacation or you want to take time off from your business, everything comes to a screeching halt. A successful business is one that you can leave for a good period of time and your business continues to grow without you. And so I have seen 5 distinct phases to scale a business.
Can you share what those are? Those five distinct phases?
Sure, absolutely. So phase 1 is, I call the seeker, and that's when you're just getting started. You're passionate, you're excited, you're really setting your course for your new business. And so it's really you. You're the 5-woman or 5-man band. And then as you start to grow it a little bit more, you might have an assistant, a bookkeeper, maybe a marketing person. You're moving into, let's say, into the 6 figures in your business. You're getting more clear on who your ideal target audience is and your customer journey and so forth. But you are still the product or service. You're still the one that is working directly with the client, and you're approving everything that goes in and out of your business. And that's you're the bottleneck. Really, nothing is getting done unless it goes through you. You start getting really busy, and so you're losing a lot of productivity. The other thing is that you start becoming this control freak. that you feel like if it's not you, then people are going to make mistakes. And so there's a lot of business owners in real estate that will stay at this level forever because of that and that unwillingness to let go and start to build a team. As we move into phase 3, if you get to this point, you start to build a team. And as you mentioned, you have some of your, the people that listen to this podcast that do have teams. And the challenges here, where some of them may be getting stuck, is that we just start filling positions without getting super clear on the roles. There's like this missing step, and you start putting people together in teams. Teams are like families. Sometimes families don't get along, and you might not have all your systems and processes in place. Then your meetings are a little bit erratic. And my guess is you're still micromanaging a lot in phase 3. And in phase 3, if someone is stressed out, they're usually the ones that say, I can't find good help. My team is not taking this seriously. I'm having to do everything. Well, you're operating like a boss instead of a leader. And you're telling people what to do, and instead of inspiring them into action. And that's completely different, because nobody wants to be told what to do. But when they own it, it's like they're so committed, they're passionate, and that's the fire you need, right, on your team. And so when you make that shift to building a team of collaboration, that's what's going to move you into phase 4. And I call this the co-creator phase. And this is where, instead of a top-down mentality, it really is bottom up. And so you're tapping into the creativity of your team. We often feel like we have to be the rainmaker and the decision maker and the everything maker. But that's really us being in our own way, because you got some smart people around you at this point, but they're oftentimes they come to us with ideas and we're like, yeah, we've done that before, it didn't work, or I don't want to spend money on that kind of thing. So they're not super motivated to come back to you and go, hey, I got this other idea for you to slam me down on. And so it's really working on yourself at this point, stepping into that leadership, understanding the things that are going to empower a team. And you begin to see these leaders on your team emerging, that you put them in these positions that you really don't need to be a part of at all. Like, you don't have to be a part of the marketing. Like, at this point, you don't even have to, you're not even really there selling homes anymore. And if you're really good at that, then your role is leading the team that does that, right? And so each phase takes you further and further out of the day-to-day, takes you out of the weeds and into what I call the clouds. Because when you're on the clouds, you can look down and you can see where the gaps are in your business, and you can be creative and inventive and find solutions. And then by phase 5, I call the visionary. And this is where they just don't need you anymore. Like, they hear your vision. Your vision is so entrenched throughout the team. Like, it's everything they're sharing and talking about is your vision. And so those are the 5 phases. But so many business owners get stuck at the phase 2 and phase 3. I mean, you could be there for 10, 20 years. And your business could just die there. Yeah. If I mean, I know that sounds morbid, but it's true. No. It's not like, but it is, the thing is, once you see where you are and you understand the gaps and the tweaks that need to happen, and you have the guidance to get there, of course, it's a game changer. We see people grow by the millions in revenue in a very short period of time, even when they've been stuck at the same place for 20 years. With making some shifts on, within the structure of their company.
So it sounds like from what I'm hearing, a lot of growth is learning to let go. Like a lot of growing as a leader is stepping back and reducing your own importance, taking the little piece of humble pie and
Yes.
recognizing the greatness in others.
It really is. And it feels so illogical because it does feel scary to let go because it's your baby.
Yeah.
And, we feel like, well, they're not ready yet. Well, they're never going to be ready if you don't allow them to step up. You don't allow them to fall and make mistakes, because that's how people learn. It's like if we constantly are rescuing our children, and believe me, I know that I have a grown daughter and I've learned the hard way. It doesn't work. You have to give them the wings to fly, right? Or they're not going to have the confidence to do it, or even feel like, hey, my boss trusts me. Like, I've got this. Now, how good does that feel?
Yeah. I think in real estate, so many agents, so many broker owners even get kind of stuck on the how do I find the next home to sell? And they're so focused on the next home to sell, the next buyer to serve, that they lose sight of the fact that we're running a business. This has to be profitable. The marketing has to be kicking on all gears. The systems have to be in place. The follow-up has to be in place. And no, you can't do all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, you can't. I mean, the more you have those systems in place, but then there's a point where you need to be able to hand that off to somebody that's really capable of taking that and running with it. I mean, when people start to come to you with questions, instead of just giving them the answer, you want to say, you know what, that's such a great question. How do you feel like we should handle this? Or why don't you come together with a plan and get it to me by next Tuesday?
And really flip it back to the person bringing the problem, right? Empower them to find the solution.
Mm-hmm.
And it might not be your solution. It might be completely different. How scary is that?
Yeah, well, it's scary, but it's a blessing. It really is. And everybody goes through the challenges of letting go. But once you do, the business can just flourish. You're in the way. We're actually choking the growth of the business by holding on so tightly.
So now you grew, since the age of 19, you started 10 businesses. You wrote a very successful book. You now lead a very successful company where you oversee teams of CEOs that teach your principles. How did you learn what you know?
Well, my father and my grandfather were entrepreneurs through and through. My grandfather had a women's clothing store in Kansas City in 1955. And then my dad grew that to over 50 stores across the country.
He scaled.
He scaled. Yeah, he had thousands of employees. And I never heard him complain. He loved his business. I mean, he lived and breathed it. And so because I was like a daddy's girl for sure, I was always with him, going store to store, working in the stores, in the warehouse, playing in the boxes, and just, it really was just an energy I was around. It wasn't like he sat me down and told me this is how you build a company, but the energy, and by watching him, the message that I got was, if you want something, go create it yourself. So I never thought about, well, is that hard, or should you not do this? I mean, I tried having a job, and the longest I could hold a job was for 2 weeks. I was so bored out of my mind. And I thought, man, if I don't get this entrepreneurial thing worked out, I'm going to be in real trouble. Because I just thought, oh, I'm just lazy, But what come to find out, it just needs to be my own thing. That's just the way that I'm wired. And so it's been a gift to have that in my childhood and have all these businesses. And it just came to a point, and this was, we're going on 11 years now with Pinnacle Global Network, where people just kept asking me, Allison, how do you do it? It just, you make it look easy. Can you teach me how to do it? And so I started coaching, and then it just started evolving. And then we've built this incredible community now. And we have 14 CEOs on the team that mentor our clients. And they've run very successful companies of their own, because I felt like because I've always had a coach. and I still do to this day. And I want to work with someone that's been there and done it, So that was really important to me as we were building the team. And so, yeah, it's just been super, super rewarding. And, business owners, business owners can change the world. Small business is more than half of our economy. And so at this point, it's a mission for me. This is legacy, is really giving back and helping those business owners. If I can help them and they help their employees and their employees' families and their customers, that's my little dent in the universe.
It's a great dent in the universe to have. Now, when you look forward and you say, wow, there's a business leader I'd like to meet or a company I'd like to help, do you have sort of a wish list of dream clients that you haven't had yet?
You know what? We really are unique in that we help so many different industries. A lot of times when you have business mentoring and masterminds, it's either, okay, it's in the real estate industry or it's in the finance or it's, coaches or something like that. And because I've had a background of service and manufacturing and digital and retail, we tend to attract people in all different business models, all different industries, which is actually better because you want to learn from people that are not in your industry. You don't want to do it like everybody else because we can't these days. You see that industries are getting disrupted left and right. So you need to stand apart from your competition. And so for me, because we are so unique and have across the board, for us, it's just getting Pinnacle out there to as many people as we can. I mean, that's really the way that I look at it. And, we have an event coming up in a couple of weeks. And for me, I'm always looking to meet these amazing business leaders to bring on my stage so that they can further, share the strategies. How did they get there? How did they do it? The inspiration. So I do love that because I get to meet some pretty inspiring people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love how you said, the disruption is constant, right? And the founder of our company, Glenn Sanford over at EXP, he's a disruptor, right? And he created a cloud-based real estate firm that's now growing by 600 agents a week, where all the franchises are kind of stuck in their model and they can't adapt to catch up to him.
Yeah.
And to follow a disruptor like that and to be a part of that, it's just an inspiring culture. You mentioned an event. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it's called Level Up Live, and it's our 10th year leading this event. So I can't believe it's been a decade. So it's quickly approaching. It's February 4th to the 6th. And it's a journey. It's a 3-day journey that we take the attendees through. We have hundreds of business owners from around the world attending. It's virtual for the first time. And so you can attend from anywhere, which makes it super easy. But what we do is we help you build out your scale roadmap for the entire year. So what I know is that when you have clarity and you have confidence and you know exactly what you need to do in your revenue streams, your marketing, your sales, your hiring, your team building, your leadership, your time management, all of those things in a document that, you can take back to your team, or you can even have your team attend and treat it like it's your yearly company meeting. It's just because we've done this event for so many years, we have seen success after success after success. Within 30 to 60 days of the event, attendees have a real jump in revenue if they apply, if they go and do it, obviously.
Yeah.
But we also, so it is a journey that we take them through. And we have business owners that come back year after year. This is like their planning event of the year. But we also bring in some incredible business experts. We have Naveen Jain, who he has built $2 billion companies. And he came from India to the United States with $5 in his pocket. He grew up in poverty. And so he has, just being around someone like this, the way that he thinks, his company is now funded to figure out how to live on Mars. I mean, this is what a massive thinker he is. He's
Wow.
incredible. And so he's going to be presenting. We have some top marketing experts out there, like Shalene Johnson, Billie Jean Shaw. We have this guy named Philip McKernan from Ireland, and he is in empowerment for the leader and your team. So it's what I tell people is, if you're going to come to this, which is really giving yourself this gift, mark out the 3 days, the 4th, 5th, and 6th, and put yourself in this creative bubble. Because if you're running off and doing appointments and you're on calls and things like that, your brain is going in and out of creative mode. Oh, I'm working in the business. But the real breakthroughs, like, the company you work for, where you are a disruptor and you are coming up with creative solutions that are your massive breakthroughs, where your big leaps happen, or when you give yourself the gift of space. And because all of a sudden, on day 2, day 3, because your mind becomes so open, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I've been doing it this way the whole time. Now I just need to do it like this. And that ends up being the game changer for their business. So anyway, I'm very, very excited about it. So as you can tell.
Well, it sounds like a fantastic event. And talk about disruptor. I mean, COVID has been such a huge disruptor, and also now to your business, because you're used to getting up on stage, interacting with a crowd, getting some emotion back. Are you going to have like just a jumbo wall of TVs, or how are you as a presenter going to adapt to the change?
Yeah, so we pivoted quickly, because events is a big part of our business. And at this particular event, we only do it once a year. But when this happened mid-March, I thought, okay, we're going to need to figure this out and figure it out fast. So we did a virtual event last May, like 6 weeks after everything shut down, from my living room, like where I am right now. And we had my whole team in all different homes doing the back end, and it was very successful. I mean, it was an incredible experience. And we're like, oh, interesting, I think we might be onto something here. And then we did it again in September, but this time we had a big stage. We had a whole AV crew. So that's what we're doing for this event. We're actually going to be in a hotel with a stage. Some of the speakers are going to be live on the stage with me. We'll have our MC there live, and we have entertainment and beautiful big gift box. And so it really feels more like a full-on experience, and people really need that right now. And we've been able to reach. So we ended up having, honestly, our best year ever. So who would have known? Because in mid-March, we were like, uh-oh.
Right.
What are we going to do? But we pivoted so quickly. And, there's so much opportunity right now, so much opportunity if you get creative. And it's that creative strategy and having your eyes open and having the direction, so the next right steps to take.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear that worked out for you. I know virtual conventions and virtual events are starting to become almost more the norm, right? And when we have a 3D campus called Verbella that EXP purchased, and we ended up having our 2 conventions this year in a 3D avatar world. And it felt so completely different to be like running around almost what seemed like a video game. But we had a record attendance because people could come in from all over the world.
Yes.
Like you said, you can have people from all over the world attending your seminar now, and being able to see each other and interact. So I imagine you're going to have time for networking and breaking out.
Oh,
and contact information. And what a wealth of information that's going to be, and just the resource. Like you said, block out not only the 3 days for the event. I personally would block out the 3 days after the event. And just stay in that bubble.
You're so smart. You're so smart. Yes.
And then
highly recommend it.
Yeah. And then network with some of the people that I met there and brainstorm and have small group breakouts long after the event happened. I think it'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, you've got it down because, after the event, it's nice to be able to have, a day or two at least to process and take your notes and get on your calendar and reach out to those people, of course. Yeah, and it's, look, when we can get back together again, I mean, I love seeing people live. I love giving someone a hug. I do miss that for sure. But this has been such a fantastic platform. And, it's the silver lining, I guess, from what we're going through. And we will probably always do now a virtual version just because we see. I was always like, no, I don't want to do that. We want people to be here in the room. And I think there will always be the people that want to be in the room, and there are people that are going to want to be virtual. And so we'll do both.
Yeah, and there's a different cost appeal as well, right? I mean, you might have someone stuck at six figures, but their budget's allocated elsewhere, the vacation time, they don't think they can necessarily get away. Great, I have a virtual event, Level Up, coming up early February. I can jump on that. And
Yeah.
you're gonna have others, the huggers, the touchers. I'm one of those. I want to go to an event, right? Me and my family, they can go on vacation. I can be learning. Then we can get together for dinner and just download the day. How wonderful.
Yeah. The best of both for sure. So, but anyway, thank you. And thanks for asking. And for those that are interested in attending, we'd love to give them the link to that.
Sure. And I could post that in the notes, but why don't we do it live too, in case someone's just listening via audio?
Yeah, it's levelupliveevent.com. Levelupliveevent.com.
And that's event singular or event plural?
Event singular.
Okay, so levelupliveevent.com.
Exactly.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, Allison Maslan, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been just a pleasure meeting you and just hearing a bit about your journey and the dent you're making by helping thousands of CEOs around the world create better workplaces and empower their workforces to become better people. How awesome is that?
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. This has been fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And everybody, check out levelupliveevent.com, and we'll see you on the next episode.